It is proving to be a giant rainmaker. We're getting new information on Tropical Storm Debbie. Will it have an ongoing impact here? After months of searching, there's a new police chief ready to take the helm in West Palm Beach. What he's telling us tonight. And they're sharing the glory, Heat fans and their NBA champs in a celebration, Miami style.
Now, from WPTV, this is News Channel 5 at 6. Local coverage you can count on.
No matter where it officially makes landfall, Tropical Storm Debbie is a big and, in some places, a dangerous rainmaker. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Dunn.
And I'm Michael Williams. We decided to head out of the studio for a moment to do what a lot of you are doing this evening. Take a look at the skies. Relative calm, gray skies across much of our 5-county region after what has been a mess these past few days across the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast. Indeed, many of you over the past 2 days, as we take a look at the pictures here, have had to weather severe thunderstorms and in some cases tornadoes that respond. You take a look at the damage there. This is just a sample of what we've seen across our region.
Now, Tropical Storm Debbie appears to be tracking toward our state. It is bringing drenching rains from the Panhandle to the Palm Beaches.
We have team coverage on the damage Debbie's caused, where it may be going next, what it may mean for the rest of the state of Florida in the coming days.
We begin with Chief Meteorologist Steve Weigel with the latest on the storm's track. Steve?
Well, you picked a good night to head outside. Not all the viewing area is dry now. We do have some storms still possible across South Florida tonight as we watch more rainfall work in from the Gulf of Mexico. Massive storms firing up this afternoon through the Panhandle. This will be the hardest hit area before this is all said and done. Center circulation just off the coast of the Carolinas, or I should say the Panhandle, and slowly drifting northeast at 5 miles an hour. But that's not where the weather is. The weather is displaced hundreds of miles to the south and to the east. These bands working through just like a pinwheel with showers and storms and embedded tornadoes. In fact, this has been one of the busiest tornado outbreaks in Florida hurricane history. Bay will talk more about that in a second. But it's sunny near the center of this. In fact, a lot of the Gulf of Mexico under sunshine with deep, big thunderstorms rolling through Tallahassee, an area that could see many inches of rain before it's all said and done. Now, the winds are 45. It's weakening. In fact, it's very weak at this point, but expected to just stay as a weak tropical storm headed into the coastline on Wednesday, weakening to a depression after that on Thursday and Friday, and then exiting the Gulf, heading into the Atlantic, and then redeveloping into a tropical storm again as it gets off the U.S. East Coast. That would be an interesting scenario. It would still keep the name Debbie, even if that happens. Forecast tracks, which were all over the place last week, and I was raving about how well the European model does in storms. It did not do a good job this time. The Hurricane Center was also amazed. They talk about it in many of their discussions during the weekend. It was one of the tracks that kept it to the west, but it looks like the consensus is toward the East Coast the next few days. Lots of rain on the radar, some gusty winds out there, and we're getting wave heights anywhere from about 6 to 10 feet. Right now, the winds at this buoy here close to the center are gusting to 40. All right, lots of rain on the radar tonight. Of course, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to send it over to Bay to talk more about the tornadoes and here.
Okay, and Steve, we are looking at a lot of rainfall because of this storm system. It is moving across northern Florida. We're looking at a couple inches per hour in some areas. I also want to go back to that graphic for you there. We are talking about the tornadoes from yesterday and the day before. You can see what we are looking at here. The National Weather Service now telling us 10 tornadoes, and they were all of EF0 strength all across South Florida. That's the most since 1964 with Hurricane Isabel. That storm also produced 8 tornadoes with that same storm system. Now, also with those rainfall totals because of this storm system, we're looking at, in our area, some spots having picked up on about 7 inches of rainfall in the past 24 to 36 hours. And we'll continue to see some of that rainfall as this storm system moves on through. So we'll update you as those rain totals add up because we're looking at a very wet few days with this storm.
Bay, thank you very much. Up and down the state, Debbie is definitely making her presence known. We have team coverage of the severe weather brought on by the tropical storm.
News Channel 5's Marissa Bagg is in Cedar Key. That's west of Gainesville. She's in the path of what could be a lot of this mess in the coming days. You see some of it right now as Marissa joins us live. Marissa?
Yes, Michael, this tropical storm may be well offshore, but the coast here is definitely taking a beating. In fact, my photographer and I were just talking about how it feels like the wind just picked up even more in the last couple of minutes since we've been on the air. But I want to show you what I'm talking about with these waves. Just one after another here on the shoreline, pounding the beach right there. And then just off a little bit farther to the west, even more waves that are just crashing right up on the road there. And that road actually leads to restaurants that are right here on the water, a very popular place for tourists. All of that is closed off for safety reasons at this point. Now, the power of those waves have already damaged many of the floating docks that are out here. And despite these gusty winds that we're feeling right now and all of the rain, really a lot of people are walking around. They want to take it all in for themselves and see the strength of Mother Nature. Many of them telling me that they've never seen the waves this high.
I guess it's not even high tide. My husband said 6 o'clock is supposed to be high tide, but just where the water level is now and just the waves crashing over at the Sea Breeze, the restaurant over on the pier.
And the power of those waves have already damaged water pipes to several of the restaurants. That's forced those restaurants to close until further notice. But the police chief says that there hasn't been any other major damage from Tropical Storm Debbie. Police will continue to monitor the streets that they say typically flood in these situations. So they're going to keep an eye on that. But at this point, the chief just says this is a wait and see situation as things continue to get better or worse. Right now, feeling like they're getting worse as we're standing here, but we'll be here throughout the night and bringing the very latest as it comes to us. For now, we're live in Cedar Key. I'm Marissa Bagg, WPTV News Channel 5.
Marissa, thank you very much. The Red Cross is already springing into action and sending 3 local volunteers, 2 from Palm Beach County and 1 from the Treasure Coast, up to the Tampa area to assist with the disaster relief. Flooding certainly remains a key concern as the tropical storm lingers.
And a reminder, even though we have relatively calm skies, gray skies here, and things are a lot better than they were over the weekend, that it doesn't have to be a classic huge hurricane to be a danger or even deadly. We were sadly reminded of that in the town of Venus, where one woman lost her life. That's where we find Jeff Skrypek live tonight with what some are describing as her heroic actions. Jeff?
Well, Michael and Kelly, we're standing right in the path of where that tornado swept through Venus. You can see some debris still out here remaining in this field that we're standing in. And further beyond that, that's where a bunch of neighbors are out there right now continuing to clean up the damage that was left over from that tornado. Now, the most severe damage coming about a half a mile down the road. That's where investigators say a trailer park home was torn apart by a tornado. Inside it, that's where a mother tried protecting her 3-year-old daughter. Now, the Highlands County Sheriff's Office identified the victim as 32-year-old Heather Town. Investigators saying when that tornado swept through and demolished her house, it threw her about 200 feet. When a neighbor finally found her, they discovered Town was still holding on to her toddler, Anne Marie.
Amazing to save her daughter. I mean, just, her daughter's in the hospital now, but she's alive, and her mom saved her.
Oh, yeah, you think that you're lucky. You know that you're lucky. The Lord was watching over you.
Now, as you can see out here, most of the damage right now includes downed trees. We also spotted out here a few fences that need to be fixed. As for the 3-year-old girl that was involved in that tornado, we're being told by the family that she was rushed to a Tampa hospital where she remains in stable condition. As for her sisters, they are at home right now with their family. They were not at home at the time of this tornado. Reporting live in Venus, Jeff Skrypek, WPTV News Channel 5.
All right, Jeff. Well, here at home, a tornado was confirmed to have touched down in both Lake Worth and also in West Palm Beach. Exclusive Chopper 5 video captured a roof being blown off near Old Okeechobee Road in West Palm. Chopper 5 also spotted tarps on roofs on 45th Street. City officials say the bulk of their cleanup was trees that were uprooted. They say there were about 150 workers in all on the streets cleaning up the debris.
Sort of call it an all-hands-on-deck kind of response. We've got crews from 3 different departments that sort of fan out across the city. They either respond to calls that we get for trees down, debris in the roadway, or they're just going street by street throughout the city, checking out what's going on.
This morning, some businesses in Riviera Beach were trying to dry out their floors that had been flooded.
And next up, when storms threaten, what can we do to secure our homes? And what happens when you live in an area where there are a lot of vacant properties?
We will be taking a look at all of that when we examine efforts to